Hello and welcome to part 3 of the tutorial screencasts for the Pickens Arts and Cultural Alliance. In this screencast, I'm going to show you some of the special features that are given to people who are authors. That's a slightly higher level of permission than regular contributors. You can schedule a post or publish a post, and there are also some things that I want to show you regarding how to make the posts look a little bit better. In part 4, we'll look separately at how to add photos. So in this case, we're going to start from a post that we've written, and it's kind of a long one. It's about a show in Calhoun, and when we click on preview, over here, we can see what this is going to look like. Well, if you look at this, you can see that it's this very long gray block of type, and we know that that doesn't look very interesting or appealing, and so people might not even read it. How do we make it look more interesting? Well, we are going to add photos, and that's in the next screencast, but I want to show you a couple of other ways that you can dress up long posts or make them a little more broken up. So here we are in this post. Now you can see we've already added a link for the Harris Arts Center, and then at the bottom we've added a link to credit the Calhoun Times, which is where most of the reporting for this was from. But in addition to that, I want to show you two things. One is how to add bullets or a list when you have a long list of things. And the other is how to break apart a long post so that it shows up on two different pages. So you can see here, this is about a tribute to 8 regional artists, and the show has all their work, and in the post we've given a little paragraph to each one of them. So what I'm going to do now is to select that list of names and turn it into something a little more attractive. I'm going all the way through the list, and I'm going to select the whole thing. Now you'll see up here there's two choices. One is an ordered list. What that means is it numbers every item from 1 to 10. So let's click that and see what happens. Oh, you can see now it's added numbers next to each paragraph. But numbers seems a little strange for a list of artists somehow. So instead, while it's still selected, I'm going to click an unordered list. And what that does is it gives you those little round dots that in the publishing business we call bullets. And you can see there, now we've got a nice little break in the graphics. So that's how it's going to look. Oh, much better. Now notice one thing it will do is if there's just a line break, it's going to interpret that as a separate item. So we want to be sure to delete any excess bullets. There's one there and one here. So now it's nice and clean. So we have 8 artists. Let's count the bullets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh yeah, 6, 7, 8. Great. So now we have 8 different little points there. So let's save this draft because we think we like how that looks. And again, let's preview it. See how that looks. And yeah, you can see that that has improved the look of that post quite a bit just by breaking it up. Okay. Now, one other thing we can do is we don't have to have the whole thing appear on the home page. If you remember in the very first screencast that I did, when we were on the home page, I showed you several different posts, like this one about the green space, where it says continue reading. And you notice it breaks right in the middle of a sentence. Well, there's a good reason for that. It's because it encourages people to turn the page, to turn the virtual page and read on if they're right in the middle of the sentence. It's kind of the editorial version of a cliffhanger. So we did the same thing also with some other posts, and the gumbo one is another one where we have the recipe on another page. So if you want to know how to do that nice little trick, Let's go back to the post that we edited and look for a place that we can break. All right, we've got several artists. How about if we just kind of tease the reader with a little bit about 2 or 3 of the first artists and then break? So how about if we just break it right here in the middle of the sentence for the third artist? Put the cursor exactly where you want it to break, and then go up here to this little button, the Insert More tag. Right? If you click, you'll see there's that nice line and a thing that says More, and now you've got that. Let's save it again. Now the only thing is, until you actually publish it, you won't be able to see how that looks, but you know how it looks because you've seen it in other posts. Okay, so that's 2 of the ways you can dress up the story so that it looks a little better. Another thing you might do, in this example, this is a show that's almost over, so we want to call attention to that fact that the end is coming up, and we're going to highlight the date and click on bold. That will help bring it out to people's attention. And the other thing we can do is towards the end, we could also put the address in bold. That will also help make it a little bit more easy to see. And while we're at it, we've got these 8 artist names. How about if we highlight their names too? Okay, let's bold them. So we've got 1. Whenever you do something like this kind of formatting for a list, you want to be absolutely sure that you got everybody on the list, because the people who get left out will feel like they were not as important. So that's why we're going to make sure we got all of them. That's 4 names. This is 5. This is 6. Okay. And here is 7. And here's 8. Just in case you wondered, since you didn't have time to read this while I was zipping around, in this case I put their full names in bold. So this first bullet just deals really with Jones, and the second one is about Smith, but I wanted Nicole's full name to be in bold, so I did it in this paragraph. So there you have it. One more thing, don't forget to check the right categories. Okay, so here we've got visual arts, and remember, this is in Calhoun, it's not Pickens County, so we're going to click regional. We want to uncheck general because there's nothing general about it, it's very specific. So now that we've done all those things, we're going to save the draft. And here you can see post draft updated. And right down here is a history of all the revisions that we've made to it. And we've got that all ready. Now that you've got that ready to go, you get to the most important part, which is publishing. Okay, when we publish a story, it goes live immediately. It's not like sending it to a printing press where you can yell stop the presses if something major is wrong. Once you hit publish, it's published. It's out there in the world. So you want to be sure to preview before you publish, check everything, make sure it looks okay, and have a good last look at it. You might also run the spell checker and make sure there's nothing misspelled. Here, that if you look for the red wiggly underlines, that just means here's what's misspelled, and obviously that's a person's name, so you don't need to worry about that. Those are all names that it's marked as misspellings, so it looks like we're good there. So now you have 2 choices in publications. You can publish something immediately, which is what you want to do whenever you have anything that's like breaking news or something that's really hot that you've got and nobody else does. But in the case of PACA, we try to have our posts happen on a kind of a regular basis where we have 1 or maybe 2 posts in a day. We don't want to have them all happen in a bunch partly because we want people to keep checking in our site every day and we want them to have something fresh. And also, if you post things in a bunch, people tend to miss the items that happen when they're all posted at once. So we're going to look at how to publish and how to schedule. So over here in the right hand corner is the publish box. We've already saved our draft. We've already previewed. Okay, this is the status, right? And the visibility, right? Now, this is where you can make something private or password protected, and you can also stick it to the front page so that it never leaves, but you won't need to do any of those things. Just wanted to show you. So we're going to hit cancel. So this last part is the thing that you're really concerned about. You want to either publish immediately or edit, and you can set in advance the time that it is going to be published. So look at that date closely. That's right now when I'm making this screencast. Well, how do you know when to schedule a post if you don't want to schedule it right away? Well, you need to look at what other posts are scheduled. So over here on the left-hand side is the post link. So if you open that on a different page, you will see this is actually just the post for this author. So if you look up here at the top, you've got mine and you've got all. You've got published, scheduled, drafts, pending, and trash. Okay, so in this case, you want to look at all the posts, not just yours. So if you look, here's the whole list of all the posts from this website going back for months and months. But fortunately, the most recent ones and the ones that are for the future are up at the top. They are, in our case, sorted by date. So if you look over here, you can see under date that we've got one scheduled already for the 23rd. We have one scheduled for the 21st. And we've got ours that we're working on. We've got these other two posts which were done by our user in the previous screencasts. Okay, so we need to figure out what's a good time. Well, if you look, we've got something on the 21st and something on the 22nd. And since this event is coming up where it's going to end on the 28th, we kind of want to get it in as soon as possible. So let's schedule it for the 22nd. So it'll squeeze right in between that chamber music concert and the Georgia Wine Tours stories. Okay? So we can schedule it by going back here to our edit post. And in here, just click in the little date box, February 22nd, and you can set the time for whatever you want. By default, it's going to set the time for the same time frame that you're actually working in right now. So normally we do like to publish around noon or the afternoon. So in this case, I'm going to put 11:57. This is a 24-hour clock. And click OK. Now you'll see it says schedule for February 22nd. All right. Scheduling something really is, in a sense, the same as publishing. It is publishing in the future. And if you schedule something to be published, you can change that anytime up until the minute it's published. But once it's published, once it hits that time on the clock, it'll be published and you're done. So let's go ahead and hit schedule. And now we know that it's scheduled for February 22nd at 11:57. All right, so there we go. That's how you do that. And otherwise, if you click publish, it'll appear immediately. Let's click publish just for fun. We'll make it the 21st and see what it looks like. Okay, let's go here, refresh the page, because it should be right up at top. It's the newest one, and there it is, right at the top. And you can see right there is where the page breaks. Okay, that's it for this section. Next one is on pictures.